Hi there, I'm King Dadinator. Welcome back to another episode of the Island of Númenor. It's been a while since I posted my last video. I took some time off during the summer, but then got back into it and have actually been building kind of like crazy since I don't know, probably November of last year. So I thought I would get on and give you an update for where things stand here in Middle-earth, out on the island of Númenor. So this behind me is a new palace. This is the living quarters of the king and the regent. Whereas before, kind of over there, you can see, I called that the palace before. That's considered more probably the government buildings where they do all of their government-y things. And here's where they live and do their living things and their parties and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that I'm kind of trying to do is obviously make this, look similar to the TV show The Rings of Power. But I'm also making up a lot of stuff, and this building is straight out of my head. So I thought it would be fun to get you on, show you around. I've got some time lapses that I want to show you as well. But excuse me, got a little bit of tickle in my throat today. So let's get started. I'm going to probably just do more of a fly around. In the intro, you saw some of this already, but this is the first thing that we did is I built a kind of a gate. This will separate a little more. This is going to be more of the market area and more where, everyday folks live. But then right here is a separation of the government, royalty kind of section of the island. So thought this was kind of fun. Sometimes I go a little overboard. I've got this big massive gate right here that drops down, and if you look here, I actually have the chains going over into this area, and then we have a big weight system that opens and closes the gates. And yes, I did count how far it can drop, how far it can raise, so that this can drop and raise the appropriate amount to close off the gate and open it. So we have some guys up here that are probably sleeping on the job. Yes, they are. I put some villagers in each of the towers that are kind of my watchers at the gate. But since it's night, they're sleeping. Right here, and we'll see this in a future video, there's going to be a statue. I thought that would be really cool when you first walk in, but I've been working on a design. I'm not really quite happy with it yet, so I want to continue working on that before I build that. And then one of the other things that I realized, most of the trees, all of the trees that I've built here are your standard, oaks and, different kinds of trees as well. But I really picture this as being a pretty tropical island. You'll notice when we get over here that there really aren't a lot of windows. I've been putting shutters on things because most of the time they leave everything open to get breezes off the ocean and keep things bearable. So I thought I'd build a couple of palm trees, and I'll probably add more of these throughout to give it a little bit more of that feel as well. So here we are. You saw a quick fly around in the intro, but I'll kind of highlight a few things with this. One of the things that I really want to try to do is build kind of a new biome in Minecraft, which is more of the sandstone-y feel, with some greenery growing on it. But I really wanted to differentiate, the living rock kind of stuff, with maybe some striations in the rock, from the parts that were constructed basically out of the same stone, but it's cut stone. So, and this place becomes a huge drowned area at night, which is kind of fun. So one of the things that I really liked was kind of building this road that kind of wraps around the island, and this was a little bit fun. I wanted to get down there to this dam, which we're going to have, a lot more detail and some buildings over there as well, a lot more detail on that dam. But as you come down from above, you can go right to go around, or you can come down here and actually go under the road and work your way down here to the dam. So I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it. I really love building roads that kind of take into account the terrain. And so I tried to figure out a way to put this road from that side all the way to this side. And this was the path that it took, and I had to build some kind of bridge type things as well. And so this road goes all the way around up to the other side. Over here, there's going to be another nice bridge there as well. My plan for this is just tons and tons of bridges, and in the artwork that I've been looking at for the Rings of Power series, they actually have like aqueducts going over bridges with little boats on them and stuff, so I'd like to try to do that too. So I want to show you one last thing, which was kind of fun. I always love like the little serendipitous things that work out. When I was working up here, I was trying to figure out something cool to kind of put in this space, and I thought, well, maybe we'll put a tunnel in. And I literally started digging down, and I always do my roads kind of 3 wide with this little half step. I don't know why I do that. It's just my own little, makes me feel like the roads aren't too steep if you do it that way. And I dug down and dug down and dug down, at that angle, just one little skinny tunnel. And when I popped out the other side, I was literally right here where this road was. And it was funny, I literally cut right through this piece of land that was here. So I don't know, it kind of this it was meant to be thing gets me excited sometimes that happens. So cool little way there. So you can see here's the building and the structure, multi-floor, multi-tier. Here's the old tower that we had last time, and I meant for this to be a standing tower that was like all by itself, but I do like how it fits in with this new building. So I'm gonna fly back here, and I want to show you the inside because that wasn't shown in the flyby. So here's a little puppy. I'm not sure, I don't have a name for him, so I have to try to solve that someday. I'm really big on big stairs and big giant rooms. So we've got all the way up to the dome in the ceiling with big chandeliers coming down, and the grand staircase that the king or the regent would come down from the living quarters up there. And this is meant to be kind of what I would call the party room. So chandeliers in here again, dancing and all kinds of stuff with stained glass windows at the back side. And up here would be where the king or the regent would sit. I'm going to put some tables and chairs and stuff in here as well. So, and then here is the entrance into that tower that goes all the way up to our nether portals way up there. I was having an issue. I'm trying to bring villagers into this whole area, and the villagers, for some reason, just loved being at the top of that tower, and so they'd go up and actually go through the portals into the nether. So I did the little carpet trick where you cut a hole and put carpet over it. So my goal this year with this build, is detail, detail, detail. I don't want to leave a single stone unturned, and a single square patch of, that's about as big as I get right there, of the same color. Even that, is itching to have something on it. But that really is my goal this year, is everywhere you look. I want to really have some gorgeous detail and kind of painting with blocks to get shadow and all that kind of stuff. So up here then is the living quarters, and got a couple servants out here. Here would be the dining room, and really starting to like this new bamboo. I didn't realize this bamboo, I forgot about it up until literally like a month ago. Started adding that in. It's perfect for my color palette. This will be the kitchen area. I haven't really built it out yet. So that's this floor. And then we have a stairwell right here. And this is up into the living quarters for the king. And we'll just say that's the king. Although in the Rings of Power story, he lives up in the top of the tower. So again, windows open, shutters on the windows. I used to really like fireplaces in all of my rooms. I made sure every single room had a fireplace, but I'm not putting them in this one because we live in the tropics, and that would be a little much. So really love the light coming in through the kind of greenhousey windows at the top. And the same thing here all the way through. And even here you can see this is all open down to here, which is all open. And so most of these are more for privacy versus keeping cold or, out. So then we've got this big, huge tower on the end, which I haven't really done a lot with. I got a nice central staircase that goes all the way up. I love my library, so I'm partly thinking maybe this whole building might just be a big, massive library of some kind. But we'll see if I end up doing that or not. But again, down to the kitchen area, or the dining room was down there. And go all the way down, got a little guard here. All the way down, this is the largest area. And then down here we've got a little bit of a garden with a cool little bonsai type tree. And this is literally my villager breeding area. So I put a bunch of beds down there as benches, and I think I had 2 villagers here originally, and they started raising the wheat and feeding each other and bred up the rest of them. So kind of cool. I really like getting a pond. I have a pond in real life with koi in it and stuff, so I always have to have one of those somewhere in my builds. And then big long stairwell and hallway back here. I love the life. Even though these guys can be a little annoying, I love the life of having villagers walking around everywhere. And then here we are back to the front. Just go down here. If you've watched my past videos, you should have seen this section before. Really trying to make these look more lived in. A little overgrown, a little bit like it's been here a while is my goal. I don't want everything to be pristine, to be weathered and worn out. But just to show you, this is a little bit of what I was talking about, painting with blocks. Really try to, have underneath sections be darker so you can see the shadows much better and make things pop out much better. So that's my goal. Everywhere that I want to show some shadow, excuse me, I really try to get some of that in there. And when you pull back a little bit and look at it, it really makes things pop. So that's the new building, the new palace structure. And I'm really, really happy with how it's turning out. It's kind of this whole section here is close to being finished. And how it all ties into over there. And we have a whole section over here that is still a blank canvas. But I think I've said it in the past, my plan really, and this is literally a multi-year, I wouldn't be surprised if it took me 3, 4, 5 years to have this finished. My plan is to have this entire island terraformed. Even that mountain is still really bare compared to what it will be, and there's a whole plateau right there for more buildings. But my plan is to have this entire island covered in buildings, and all of the surrounding area have these kind of yellow markers that I really want to have, just buildings and stuff everywhere with bridges and just layers and layers of city, and then fill all the waterways with boats and ships and docks and all that kind of stuff. So that's the plan. I hope you stick around to see that happen, and let me know if there's anything that you would love to see that I haven't started to build yet, because I'm always looking for ideas. I try as much as I can to make all the buildings have a reason and a purpose. I'd be lying if I said I had one for all of these here, but if you have anything specific you'd like to see, let me know. So with that, it's time for a time lapse, and it's time for a fireside chat with King Dadinator. I wanted to talk a little bit today about creativity, and more specifically creating art. We live in a time now where it seems like we have much more ability to create art and to be creative, and I guess more importantly to share our creativity with other people. You can get on YouTube, you can make videos, you can post your art online for a much wider audience than you could back when I was a kid or when I was in college. And in some respects that is really cool, that is really powerful, but it's also, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. And for a while I wanted to, I love to write. I used to write stories, I used to write novels. I've written 6 full-length novels and found a small publisher and got them published, and even, I started self-publishing first before I got a publisher. So you can write books, you can publish them, you can get them online, and some people can find a lot of success there. But I ran into a problem where probably I would venture to say the majority of people who try to create art and try to get it out to a wider audience run into the same problem. And that's, I don't know, you have this thing that you love and you hear the phrase, if you do the thing you love, you'll never work a day in your life kind of stuff. And so you start to think, well, man, if I could just make a living at this thing, then, life would be great. And, I would love waking up every day and creating that thing that I love and having people pay me to do it. But I was thinking about, every time I think of this subject, I think about this old Harry Chapin song. He was a singer back in the 60s and 70s, a folk singer who told, great stories in his songs. And he had this one called Mr. Tanner. And it was about this guy who owned a cleaning shop. But, while he was cleaning, while he was doing the laundry and stuff, he would sing. And everybody that heard him singing, just praised him. And he had this deep baritone voice. And it was so beautiful. And everybody said that he should make a living at it. He should, try to get out there and use the thing that he loved, to make a living. And there were a few lines in the song that, in the chorus that really hit me. And it's like, he did not know how well he sang. It just made him whole. He didn't really know, kind of from an outside perspective, how good he was. But when he sang, it filled this kind of hole that he had. It made him whole. And then Harry Chapin goes on to say music was his life, but not his livelihood. And the story is basically he ends up going to New York and the critics pan him and they say, he should find another job. And he goes back home and the line that breaks my heart is, I don't remember the line exactly. I didn't write this one down, but it's, he never sang again. And except at night in quiet by himself. And just to see that someone with their art and have it crushed, when they try to put it out into the world. And I experienced that with my books. I mean, I worked really hard for close to a decade, probably, writing those 6 novels and got them out. And I did everything I could to try to get an audience and just could not get there. And people that read them said they liked them and that kind of stuff, but it just wasn't anything that ever took off. And so finally, I hung up my pencil, as it were, and I haven't written in I don't know, probably 3-4 years now. I'd like to get back to it someday, but I think there was just this idea that, I would love to make some money at it, and I just never did it. So I bring that up, now thinking about Minecraft, and of course everybody who's into Minecraft has, all these people that they love to watch, and, the Hermitcraft people, and, it's like, man, I would love to make a living at this, and, they try to do things like I'm doing here with YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. And, I decided with this YouTube video, doing these videos, that I just was not going to go down that path. And please don't hear me say that you shouldn't if that's something you really want to do, but I'm just making these videos for me. I have no expectation whatsoever of ever getting more than, a few dozen at the most subscribers, but just something that I can look back on and share with my kids sometimes and get a laugh out of as I create them. And I find so much joy in just creating for myself and doing the best I can. I mean, always improving, always growing, but understanding that this is something for me. And it doesn't have to be something for the rest of the world, and it certainly doesn't have to be something that I'm going to make a living at. And just as one aside, with the rise of AI and, tools that create artwork for you, and I don't know exactly where I come down on it, because I feel like there is a little bit of a faddish nature to, especially the visual side of things. I don't know. I have artists that I love that it's a connection to the artist, not to the art itself. And I just can't imagine that could ever be replicated through some AI creation of art. I could be wrong, but I think there's always going to be a place for art, and I do laugh when I see the memes. We thought the computers were going to come, do our jobs so we could create art instead, but instead they came and took away our ability to create art. And I think that's a little cheeky. I don't know that it's actually true. So if you get anything out of this at all, it's like, if you love something, first and foremost, just love it for the thing itself, and love it for the joy it gives you as you create it, and work hard to become a master at it. I love people who are craftsmen at something. But be careful, be cautious when you start to think about maybe actually making a living at it. Just don't let it crush the joy. Don't let it, take something that makes you whole and actually ends up tearing you down. Thanks a lot. This has been a Fireside Chat with King Dad Nader, and let's take a look at this build. In that video, you saw me working on the entranceway to the original palace, the government buildings, and I was looking around for some footage last time I built that, screen captures or something from the original TV show season 1 of Rings of Power, and I couldn't find anything that showed it. And then season 2 came out and they had a couple good shots, and I really liked how it was, so I tore down the door that I had there and changed some things around. And then I also wanted to get the white tree of Númenor here, so really I really like how this turned out. And you can see, even since I recorded that time lapse, I added quite a bit of greenery and benches and these columns and different things here as well. So I think it's kind of cool to show, a little bit different take on it. It comes down from this now. And you may have seen I tried a whole bunch of different kinds of bridges here and finally settled on this one to get us into here. So I still couldn't quite tell from what I saw. It looked like possibly the floor was actually at this level, this strip of sandstone and quartz up here. The floor inside, and then there was water coming down both sides, but it did look like there was a door here, so I'm going with that right now, that's still the door into this building here. So really like how it turned out. I'm gonna do a little flyby here so you can kind of see a little bit what it looks like now. I avoided this earlier when I did the time lapse because I had this done, or not the time lapse, the flyby. I had this done before I did that flyby. So just a little bit more greenery. I had a lot of greenery around here and roughing it up just a little bit. I would really like to have some white leaves to make this tree a little more white tree-ish. The White Tree of Númenor is kind of the ancestor of the White Tree of Gondor from the Lord of the Rings movies. There's the dead one up that, minus Tirith, that in the books Aragorn finds the seedling of it up in the mountains and plants it. But I don't know, really like how that is starting to tie in together with the rest of the build here. And pretty excited how it's coming along. So that's where I am today. I hope you enjoyed this continuation of my build in the island of Númenor. And I know I said I don't really care about subscribers, but if you want to like and subscribe the video, that would be great. Obviously, it's nice to have at least a few people watching the videos to get me motivated to make more videos. I'm gonna still make more of the build, so whether you like or subscribe or not. So until next time, we'll see ya.